Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the final match of the Abstraction Cup. So many teams entered this tournament, and we are down to the final two. It is going to be Salmon Noodle taking on T1 to see who will be taking home this edition's trophy, first place trophy of the Abstraction Cup. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined in the commentary booth this time around by none other than Dynascape and Epic Man 2. How's it going, guys?
It is going great. I am super excited for this match. Of course, the one that we all wanted to happen, wanted to see. Of course, I'll pass it over to our host, Epic Man 2. How are we feeling about the match and just how everything went in general for this tournament?
Oh man, it's like definitely one of those things that I just cannot like describe in just one sentence alone. Like, there's literally been so much that has happened in this tournament alone that it's genuinely so hard to even predict how exactly this match is going to be going down, because we've seen from semifinals that Salmon Noodle did manage to pull off that upset against T1 6-3 in their favor. However, we've seen from T1's matchup yesterday against our third runner-up Unicorn Butterfly that they have what it takes to really try and challenge these map pools in terms of physicality, especially with some insane scores that we've been seeing both players, both Nepogen and Hello Sun, setting here and there, regardless of which category it was going into. I mean, you've seen from Rice 6 getting a 997k from Nepogen, and also the fact that Hello Sun managed to keep a clean near FC run on Everlasting Game as well. So I'm honestly really interested to see how this one's going to go, because this is going to be Salmon Noodle playing off the information they have from yesterday's match in particular.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of information that Salmon Noodle's going into this match. Basically, scores that they can maybe avoid, maybe things that they could change up in terms of protects and bans. It looks like we're starting to get the procedure out of the way here. It looks like T1 deciding to protect first, opting to keep LN1 on the board here. So we'll see what the response is. Rice 5 is the response from Salmon Noodle, banning LN4. And before too long, we'll see what the final ban is going to be here from T1 before we get things started.
Pretty surprised with how some of these protects and bans went. Like you guys said, both teams are playing with the information that they have. Salmon Noodle kind of knows what T1 is good at. And if I were to say one map that T1 is good at, it would probably be Rice, I believe it is 6, where Nepad got that 997.2 with a 1 grade, like almost getting a V1 100% on a map like that. I would have thought that that would have been the immediate ban from Salmon Noodle. T1 bans out Hybrid 1. I'm also kind of excited to see how this LN1 protect from T1 goes, just because Hosun had a pretty good score on it, 982 with 1 slider break 4 misses, but definitely with that protect kind of evokes a sense that Hosun has like a much better score in practice and can do better than that, and maybe just think that Salmon Noodle aren't as good when it comes to these kinds of LN maps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pretty much there is a lot of information that we can really try and tackle at, as we do have both the bans and both protects come out from both teams. And now that that chapter is sealed off of this match, we're going to be heading headfirst into Rice 1. Roll through knives, a pick that we haven't seen in yesterday's match, as Hello Sun's going to be boldly picking into this one. I recall that this was a bit of a favor coming from Nepajid and over in the Discord server. So with how this map carries a little bit of history inside the Eterna community, I'm honestly really interested to see how this one's going to be going, because this is a map that is just really physical the whole way through. 3 minutes and 40 seconds is absolutely no slouch for how monstrous this entire map is when it comes to a lot of these hella physical patterns. Like, it's actually going to be a bloodbath here.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those where we'll probably get a very early glimpse as to where the potential physical cap for Salmon Noodle will be. Because, I mean, we're already operating with the premonition of T1 scores. Like you guys were saying, this is one of the few that wasn't picked in the previous matchup. So Not entirely sure how this one will go, but based on the other scores that we have to go off of, we kind of know where this team is averaging. So we'll see if, looks like it's going to be Nod coming in for Salmon Noodle, going up against Nep for T1 on this one. And like you guys were saying, 3 minutes, 40 seconds, even with the up rate, just a hell of a slog to go through to start things off here. And the players are ready. We're going to get into this first map of this grand finals. For those of you just tuning in, Salmon Noodle is in the winner's bracket. This is still a double elimination tournament. T1 will need to win this match and the reset if they want to take this tournament home. Can they do it, or can Salmon Noodle keep their undefeated streak alive? Only time will tell as we get this one started.
And Nat and Neptune off to the races. Great start from both of them, nothing less. But we're not at the hardest part yet. Both players up to the combo cap. And if you guys remember from last week, Neptune didn't have the greatest time on the kill Bury Me against, I believe, Super Duper Speed, which was against Wyran, where he picked up 9 misses. Add 1 to the collection on the streams as Neptune gets the first miss. Nat is up. Seems like this was a questionable pick as it stands. Nat does trade it back, but I do think that the ACK favors him by just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the same time, it's only into the first quarter of the map alone. The fact that we're going into our very first round in this very finale of the tournament is that it's generally setting the signal that this is going to be quite an intense match that we are witnessing down here as... Okay, my computer's lagging a little bit. Sorry about that, but we're going into the first course now, and that was only a few hundred points of difference until there seems to be a drop from Neptune that's going to bring it back over to about 1,000 points of breathing room for Nod. But it's not entirely enough to be able to give them that cushion that they really need throughout the rest of the map, because this map is just super stamina draining the whole way through.
Yeah, third away done through the map. Only a 0.1% of accuracy difference between the two players. 1 miss apiece for both of them as they're comfortably setting in to their respective accuracy ranges, not just being able to push that little bit further. As I say that, thinking of maybe a rush of 300, maybe a 200 there on one of those jump troll patterns with half the map still left to go here. Starting to fall into the clutches of Neptune just ever so slightly. It's 400 points, and they bring it back. Another accuracy drop from Nod gives Neptune the slight advantage as we cross into the back half of the map now. Can they hang on here to push it further?
Nat has had the lead for so much of the map, but you have to wonder with those late 200s, is the stamina running out for Nat, for Neptune? Is the consistency wearing thin? Neptune picks up another miss, which means Nat gets a second life when it comes to the lead, but there is a third of the map left. You have to wonder, is he tiring out? Can he hold on for this last minute? A little bit of a break section, so we'll have to see.
Indeed, going past that break section, the map is not entirely over just yet. This is the point where the map just does not let up whatsoever. All the breaks in the map are done now, and now with another rush of 300 as we're seeing, the scoreline is literally only about 200 or so. There's a choke on that Krill coming from Nat alone, and that's going to bring Neptune the advantage once again. Even this not having over 3,000 combo right now, not having missed in quite some time. This is the point where your stamina is going to be absolutely shredded, and Neptune's just doing what they can to try and eke as much as they can, going off of any mistake that Nod takes. But that's another miss that comes out from Neptune, the final miss that could probably seal it. However, it's still so close. If it does come down to another miss response from Nad as well, this is easily going to bring things back as we go into the final jump stream section with some of these speed bursts. Final hand stream section. Nod cannot miss at this point. I saw bad. Oh no. Wait. No. Oh my god.
Watch the releases. Gotta watch the releases here.
Oh god. 836 for the first pick in grand finals. And it's a break point.
My heart's not gonna be able to take this, guys. I cannot believe that is inside of 1,000 points. Oh my goodness.
Oh god.
What an opening pick. What an opening break point for Salmon Noodle here. Being able to take that first one very crucially. It was looking dicey there for ebbs and flows, but not just holding on to the consistency. Like you said, big man, those 50s there right at the end. If there had been a break, potentially a chance for T1 to take it back, but not gonna be the case here. Salmon Noodle managed to hang on, Nod pulling it out in the clutch, and they're gonna opt to go for Rice 5.
Yeah, we've got Mishnu up on the chopping block here as...
Oh, dear God.
Get ready for some
Mishnu.
Terminal 11 tech. I mean, come on now. It's Terminal 11. You guys know, even without seeing the map before, and you know what's going to be in store for this map. But I do have to point out how that last one kind of went, because I think that's going to be the revolving theme for this match, where Nad and Ami have amazing consistency. They have this like uncanny skill to just not drop combo, right? And throughout finals week, and also throughout T1's last matching brand finals, we've seen a lot of drops. I mean, T1 only had one FC on the whole pool throughout all of the maps that they've played. And when they do drop, you know, it's either pretty sustained. It's not just like one miss usually. It's a lot of slider breaks on LNs. It's a lot of misses throughout the map. So yes, at a snapshot, Nepogen and Hello Sun will maybe have better MA, better accuracy, better judgments than Salmon Noodle when it comes to some of the better notes. But when it comes to the bad judgments, that's where it matters, right? It's going to become a game of consistency versus accuracy, which is not something we see like all too often.
Absolutely, and I think especially with this pick in particular, I definitely think that it makes the most sense for Salmon Noodle to kind of throw out their protect really early, because this is a map that really just tries to challenge your comfort for a lot of these patterns alone. Like, if you thought that Rice 1 was difficult when it comes to at least trying to maintain consistency, this is a map that kind of challenges that, but tenfold in terms of difficulty, because this is more of like a survival test as opposed to all the other picks that we have in the same Rice pool. As Nepogen does take the first miss on that map alone, first blood, and now while it's on the nose of Nad, they have about 6,000 points of an advantage, about 1,500 combo just about, but they take a bit of a rough draft right there as well.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like when we get these trades back, the fact that Salmon Noodle is resting on this tiny bit of a cushion and being able to claw it back, being able to rebuild the accuracy that they lose in greater amounts than that of T1. Right now we're seeing it be on the bit of the flip side here. Nep holding on to the higher accuracy despite both players losing their FCs. Now Nepogen having some free time to be able to claw the lead back at 700 points as we continue on into the last of the map. It is 0.02% separating the two players as they try to claw back their position. Not finds yet another drop as they manage to weather a bit of a storm. Nepogen taking quite a bit of an accuracy drop, being able to lose the lead for the moment for clawing it back there. 2,000 points when all is said and done. Third quarter of the map left to go here. Can Nep hang on here? A chance to get the breakpoint back right out of the gate here.
Oh, these ending patterns can be very rough. You see a lot of bias on one hand, a lot of tests on the left hand at the moment, and there's still a decent amount of burst to go. The score is 500 points. A bleeding Nepogen drops at the end. Nad can secure it as long as they don't drop as well. And, well, seeing how these patterns are turning out, it seems like he's secured it. Yet another close point for Salmon Noodle and T1. These guys are legitimately neck and neck, all things considered. I mean, you look at the miscount being the same, and just if Nepogen didn't drop at the end there, he held on for quite some time. It would have been pretty much within 500 points.
I'd like to point out that both Nep and Nad literally got only 2 misses on this map. Like, this is like generally the most evil pick I've seen in like a majority of tournaments that I've at least commentated for or like seen in the past. Like, how are you only getting 2 misses on this? This is like genuinely disgusting. Like, Oh my god, I'm at a loss for words on this map alone. Oh my god. 2 points in favor of Salmon Noodle for the time being. And T1 is still yet to pick something that will bring them to at least a point or something. They were robbed of that Rice 1 victory by only just under 1,000 points, and they're going to be going for LN2 next up, as this is a pick that they ended up losing, and it's the only map they ended up losing in their match against Unicorn Butterfly yesterday, because Pavin is pretty much the density monster, as we all know. I'm going to be coming in for this one. Hello Sun also coming in, full team swap out for this pick as well. This is going to be a bit of an interesting pick. Definitely quite the change of pace that I'm assuming T1 desperately needs right now, especially going into the early game of this pick, if this match alone.
Yeah, full 180, a full mental reset potentially for T1. Just get away from the Rice for the moment. It seems like there is a bit of a consistency issue there as we get this match started. I imagine they'll be able to shake it off as this match progresses, but you don't want to come up against the 3-play limit and then tag into something that you don't want your teammate to be not wanting to play at the moment, and already being down to Salmon Noodle doing a great job capitalizing off of that early break point. You want to try to stem the bleeding as soon as humanly possible, and this feels like a really good way of trying to get into it. See if you can find a matchup that works for your side. And we're going to see Yi and Hello Sun take on this one, our first LN map of this grand finals. Who will come out on top in this matchup?
This is such an important matchup too, because this one, if you can get a point here, it'll definitely spark some confidence in the lower half of the pool throughout this set. And it's quite interesting to see Hello Sun play on Gears of Fate, as Neptune was the one to duke it out against Unicorn Butterfly previously in the grand finals. So seeing Hello Sun get in instead of Neptune means that, you know, there was some talks. It seems like Hello Sun has maybe found some confidence on this map as they practice it more, and well, after that drop, it's gotta be it's gonna be an uphill battle for T1.
I mean, that miss aside, I definitely think it would have made sense for Hello Sun to kind of jump in for this pick, because I know for a fact that both these teams overall are very good rosters, because they pretty much are very balanced as teams overall. So with that alone, you can essentially work around that 3-in-a-row rule, or at least like try to abide by the cycle by exploiting the fact that both your players in one team are very well rounded. And I think that's the type of play that T1's looking to do, so that they don't need to like suffer with having Hello Sun suffer on a potential pick that Salmon Noodle was to take next, as I mean, he's also going to respond with a miss of their own going into this drop. So that's going to even things out a little bit with it. 1,000 points of a differential. Hello Sun still yet to kind of gnaw back that lead that was once stolen from them, but the map does not let up for another minute and a half or so.
Yeah, a tale of two trades here. The fact that Yi's drop on those chord impacts not damaging their accuracy as much as Hello Sun from their earlier drop means that they're able to hang on to it. But that being said, Hello Sun starting to claw back the difference here a little bit. 302% inside of 800 points between the two players as we continue on into this next TI section. A quarter of the map still left to go. Yi holding on by the skin of their teeth. Hello Sun on the relentless charge to try to get something back for T1 here. They don't want to capitulate another breakpoint to a roster like this, because they have shown that they have the consistency so far, and so far it is nip and tuck once again. An eighth of the map left to go. The lead has shrunk to inside of 300 points. Can Hello Sun claw this one back against Salmon Noodle and find the first point for their side here?
Lead has been waning for about the last minute. The density is extra fast. These are the last patterns. If I'm Yi drops, Hello Sun is right there to catch him. And with bated breath,
oh my god!
And with bated breath, Salmon Noodle, 11 points.
Are you kidding me? What? 11? 11? What? What?
I Oh, excuse me? What happened there?
This
That
is like
that that outro, that 1/100. Oh my, the accuracies are tight. Oh my, there. Of all times, I wish there was instant replay. I want to see that back. That flickered so heavily there at the end. There is something happening here. Salmon Noodle able to withstand everything there. Yee. Every single judgment mattered there at the end. One singular 320 goes the wrong way, and that is a T1 point. You cannot get any closer outside of the 1 point, the mythical 1 point.
This just goes to show how close both of these teams are when it comes to skill in every single category. You cannot miss, you cannot drop bad judgments because, I mean, as we've seen time and time again throughout this set, we're only 3 maps in. Each one, absolute photo finish as Salmon Noodle loads up Hybrid 2. This is a good pick for them. Hellosun, I think, struggled with this one in their last match, so I mean, they've got to hit the reset, right? They've got to chill out. They've got to take their time, recollect themselves, and I mean, for both of them, right? After experiencing such a heart attack.
Yeah. I definitely think this makes the most sense to be picked within this match alone. Both these players alone are pretty much well familiar with this map already. Hellosun having played this in their matches today, and both Aimee and Nad definitely no stranger to this pick alone, as this was originally in Spearlight Free. However, this was also used in a nationals tournament they had to go through over a year ago called the Korean Extraterrestrials Tournament 2nd edition, where this was used in Grand Finals but on 1.05 rate. Like, just imagine, just put it into perspective real quick, how insane that sounds, and just the fact that we're literally still getting that one, but on base rate. So we're going to have to see how both these players fare in this one, albeit it's the same exact lineup that we saw for LN2. Like, I'm actually so scared to see how this one's going to go. This is insane.
All right. We've got to catch our breath here. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I almost dropped the hardest F-bomb when I saw the 11. That's why I was stuttering so much. I was trying to find a word, just anything to replace what happened there. But all right,
The word saber stream.
yes.
Honestly,
Oh my goodness.
I would have just allowed it. Like, it's like genuinely the perfect time to let it throw something like that out there for probably one of the most insane moments of this entire tournament already.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, this tournament's been littered with them, but I mean, we have no time to rest here. We're already underway with our first hybrid of this grand final. It's going to be Hybrid 2, and you guys were alluding to it. It's like Hellosun did struggle a little bit with this one in their match earlier this weekend, so can they rectify that score? They're going to need to. I'm more than up to the task here to try and make them fight for literally every single point here.
Quick little break section. This is a pretty long map of 4 minutes, so there is a lot to be had. Hellosun deciding to miss in that slower section means that Aimee is going to have a little bit of a lead. Granted, even with that miss, Hellosun does have better accuracy, so if things keep up, since Hellosun is back up to the combo cap, things keep up, I mean, the lead should be dwindling, kind of like how last map went, but we'll have to see, because some of these bursts are really nasty.
absolutely. I mean, this is a map that pretty much everyone should be fearing, because I think on paper, this is definitely one of the more dangerous hybrid picks out there, because it's not as inherently difficult as opposed to maybe Hybrid 1 or Hybrid 3, for example, albeit this is only a lot more difficult because of the fact that this really starts to tax on your stamina after quite some time. This is one of the longer picks that we have in the regular pool outside of these boss picks, and especially with how the LNs are addressed here, HelloSun's gonna find a drop going into the transition into Mysterious Part, and another one to add onto that 6,000 points, 8,000, 9,000 points are now in the favor of IME, and HelloSun is now drowning in misses after what we've just seen of yesterday's match, not being able to catch up to it, but IME finally responds with another miss of their own to at least equalize things out a little bit going into this calmer section, which is ironic to say because it's just these patterns are just so easy to choke when you're not even looking properly.
Man, talk about a capture test of a section there. Both players finding misses during that last quarter. HelloSun taking a heck of a lot more damage, doing very well to recover, falling under that 99% mark for the first time this match, able to find themselves within, what, 0.2%, but IME has so many misses in the back pocket to work with in comparison to some of the earlier maps where it felt like it was teetering on a knife's edge. If they blinked, they would have lost the lead, but for now, despite losing that FC, still nursing about a 10,000 point lead with a quarter of the map left to go here. This is the most comfortable position Salmon Noodle and IME have found themselves in so far this entire match, where, I mean, where are the answers going to come from for T1 here? I mean, they've come close on Rice, they've come close on LN, and now the Hybrids starting to close themselves off potentially as well. I'm not too sure. Looking forward for the rest of this match.
Yeah, as it looks to be Salmon Noodle's fourth straight point, the window of opportunity is closing for T1, and you can't blame them, right? Salmon Noodle has perfect information for most of the map pool, as you know, T1 had played against Unicorn Butterfly earlier, so it's more like Salmon Noodle has had a plan from the start of this match, whereas T1 kind of has an inkling of a plan, but is more so just a shot in the dark for every pick they choose. And unfortunately, their picks have not worked out for them, and Salmon Noodles have been absolutely perfect, right? You look at this score, you see how Salmon Noodle has beaten T1 by 25,000 points. When do you ever see that against a player from the USA MWC team? And you have to wonder, how does T1 claw back from this? Because Salmon Noodle has already won on Rice, they've won on LN, they've now won on Hybrid. They've taken T1 coast to coast on a tour of the entire map pool and have shown that they can win on anything today.
Absolutely. On top of the fact that Salmon Noodle is literally out for blood over in what is quite literally 1 a.m. in their own local time, so...
Wow.
I mean, two out of the picks that Salmon Noodle managed to win were at least within 1,000 points, which T1 could have definitely won, but it was just really down to really unfortunate circumstances that it was just off by just so little. And that's literally the issue with this matchup alone, and that it literally demands for everyone to be at their absolute best, as HelloSun is going to commandedly demand for that Rice-free pick. Return of Salieri. This was played in yesterday's match. Nepogen did get a rough estimate of about number 5 on the Score V1 leaderboards for this one, as this is a ranked map. So going to be facing the very player that got number 3 on the V1 double leaderboards on this map alone is definitely going to open for a really crazy pick alone, because we know for a fact this is a map that is not to be messed with. 286 BPM jump stream hand stream, and it's so dense the whole way through. If you thought that Shimbasu 1.1 was insane in finals, look at this. This is literally just that pick on steroids. Like,
yeah, I don't know how these players do it. I see a map length over like 2 minutes and my hands hurt. And you're asking them to play almost 5 minutes of 286 BPM hand stream? No. All right. But I mean, there's a reason why they're here. They're able to do these things. And like you were saying, pretty impressive scores leading up into it. Now it's just how they stack up against each other. So far, Salmon Noodle has been on the right side of all these 50-50 coin flip maps. Can they continue that streak? They've got 2 breakpoints in the back pocket to work with, and they are virtually even going through this introduction. It's going to be one of those where you just need to strap in and just keep your hands inside the ride the entire time, because this is going to be very nip tuck, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, Nip Tuck is pretty much how it's been aside from that last match, and I kind of liked Epic Man to what you were alluding to with the leaderboard scores. I had to go and see for myself. Yeah, Nad has one of the only 4 FCs on this chart, right? And granted, Neb doesn't have a submitted score, but to go against someone who has like a very established position means that Neb has to be cooking something. And so far, as you can see with the accuracies, it definitely Neb has the upper hand when it comes to MA. It's just that consistency thing I was talking about earlier. Is Neb going to be able to FC this? I mean, some of these bursts can be kind of tough, you know, when you stray away from the regular 1/4 jump stream, and it's just a test of time. We've got 5 minutes to sit and think about it. Nad is the first to drop.
Yeah, and that's going to be a really detrimental drop because I think, alluding to what you were saying with the leaderboard positions, much like I was saying, I think the one thing that Nepogin was banking on when it comes to this pick alone is the fear of the unknown. He comes into this one like a Trojan horse because it's clear that no one has actually seen how he would have done on this pick before. So the only way you would have at least tried to analyze how he could have performed on this is maybe if you'd gone off of other scores on maps similar to this one, like maybe anything from Lemon Guy, if there is like anything remotely similar to that one, or like, you know, Azure Arbitrating, for example. But that's going to be multiple misses from that, and now it's an easy 15,000 points in the advantage for T1 going into the base solo, where we finally have time to breathe, and now we do not need to lose our minds over everything happening all at once for once in our lifetime.
At least so far in this match, it has been so close at times that now, I mean, T1 nursing the biggest lead that they've had so far in this match. And I mean, to be fair, when it comes to Neb, it feels like, all right, first couple of maps, maybe just starting to shake some of the nerves out. It is, I want to say, pretty early for them, all things considered. I mean, compared to the flip side where it's literally well past midnight. But yeah, I mean, the preference for some of these players to want to play at, I mean, the US known for having to do some early matches and needing a couple maps to really just shake the cobwebs off. It feels like Nep has arrived to this match. As we can see, that 99.92% accuracy, this is something that, I mean, for a lot of players is a bit of a push, but I mean, we've seen the scores this kid can put out, and as things stand, it just feels like they're locked in for the moment. A quarter of the map left to go here. Nod doing their best to try to claw back some of that score, but I mean, 18,000 points on a map like this, you're hoping, you are begging for a collapse on the other side to bring you back into it, because the ball is very much in Nep's court right now going into this outro section.
Exactly, Nepogin holding an 18,000 point lead. I don't think he's dropped a single 200 yet so far, and well, Sparky, you and I are in Central. Nep and Hellosun are in Central. America just had the 4th of July. You know, it was an early start for this match. Dare I say, T1 has absolutely woken up. They are recharged. They are ready to go. And this score proves it so far. Nep does take a break, but is very clean. I don't even think took a bad judgment with it. Still holding a 99.9 despite the miss.
Dude.
Showing absolute dominance against Nad, and says, hey, we gave you the first couple of breakpoints, but we're not gonna let you have another one, and we're gonna take more and more until we win this match and force a bracket reset. As Nep finishes off, let's see what the score is from him.
994.
994 with a miss.
It's slightly better than yesterday's score, even with the miss.
That's ridiculous.
I also want to point out that Nepogin was like literally so close to FCing this map had it not been for that final hand stream section. If they got an FC in match, oh my god, this would have been probably one of the most insane scores we've seen of this entire tournament, especially with the fact that we have the eyes of over 124 people right now on this very stream alone. That's how insane this is going, and it seems like now that they finally bled 1 point from Salmon Noodle for the first time, in just about a moment since we started this match, the timeout will finally be used from the side of Salmon Noodle. What a perfect time to call this out, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, after a 5-minute gauntlet, if we're going to continue the trend here where it's been 2 maps per player, I imagine not once a minute to just shake the hands out. That is ridiculous what they just went through. But, I mean, as things stand, I mean, Salmon Noodle, incredibly hot start, 4 to the good to kick things off here, running the gamut across all 3 map styles. T1 finally finding a pick that they could really just flex their muscles on. I mean, going into the back half of this match now, it feels like potentially with NEP finding their rhythm now, potentially closes off the top half of the map pool. Dyna, what do you think with that?
No, I absolutely agree. Yeah, Crawl Through Knives was unfortunately a Salmon Noodle win for T1, but you have to remember that that was really close, and I think Nepogen had better accuracy throughout the map, just had a little bit more misses. So Chimera Dragons obviously looking very, very good as a pick for T1 as it stands, if they want to choose that for their next pick. And for Salmon Noodle, I'd have to say a couple of the hybrids. I mean, you know, there's one hybrid left, Bismuth, but I'm thinking like LN5 seems maybe a potential pick for Salmon Noodle, or if they want to go the route of how Rice 1 went, you maybe want to choose something like, I don't know, Infectious Crying? Rice 7? It gets like the lines become really, really blurred as this map pool dwindles, and since we're already 5 maps in, yeah, sure, there's still like 10 or so maps left in the pool, but you know, those were the best options. You know, everything picked so far were like the immediate best options for both teams, and now we're kind of into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, precisely. We've pretty much gone 5 maps throughout this match alone, and there's still a lot of gnarly options that we have on the board, because I think when it comes to this pool alone, this is arguably the one map pool that is the scariest, not just because it's difficult, but when we say it's difficult, then we really mean it. This is like pushing just about 2 or 3 rounds above what is the difficulty of grand finals in the Mania World Cup for 4Key, and especially as we can see from all the maps we've witnessed so far, we have a lot of very iconic maps here and there from, you know, not only just upper turns, but other sources as well, as we literally have only everything above 6 stars. And it's just trying to think of what Salmon Noodle could potentially go for next. I wouldn't be particularly surprised if they were to go for LN5, knowing that I would assume Yi is incredibly confident with this one, as even though C1 Nepogen did have a really good score of their own on that pick alone. Either that, or maybe go for a pick that has no information about it thus far, like maybe Rice 4, Hybrid 3, LN3 maybe. Those are like the only picks that weren't played out in the previous match outside of Rice A, which is just going to be a bloodshed for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those where this next pick feels like the most consequential in terms of overall match dynamic for Salmon Noodle, because like I was saying, it's like you start to get these T1 players warmed up, and next thing you know, it's like they start upscoring on things that you might not have thought they would have had a good score on in comparison to the previous match. And it's just like, alright, well, you don't want to give over those breakpoints. So, I mean, it looks like the timeout's over. We got to get the pick in here before that runs out here.
Yeah, Salmon Noodle did have about 4 minutes to think through it, so I'd have to imagine that it is a hard choice. Like you were saying, Sparky, this is the one that kind of decides, will you let T1 have the momentum, or can you stop it in its tracks, as Salmon Noodle picks LN5.
Oh,
right.
We are so back. Oh no.
Well, out of the frying pan and into the oven. Go from one incredibly long pick to another incredibly long pick. 5.5 minutes. This is based on its position in the map pool. The LN boss pick. This is an order of magnitude harder than basically everything else in the LN pool. It is going to be Yi and Nep going up against each other on this one. So, interesting turn of events. First time we've seen these two face off against each other in this match. See how Nep stacks up to Yi, because so far Yi's got the 1-0 run against this T1 squad.
Absolutely, and we've seen from Nepichin's scores yesterday that he's able to scrape by with a 976k. That is very dominant for a pick like this, where you're literally playing one of the hardest LN maps in this tournament, and it's literally on OD 8.5 to add fuel to the fire. This absolute monster of a technical LN map, adjacent to that of Dead Air from the LN Tournament's 4th edition, which we had earlier on the same channel. So far, it seems like both players have found a sense of comfort with this one. However, it's still the intro. There's been a lot of really disgusting patterns that we saw throughout here, and somehow we still have a small difference between both these players. Only 5 points. Just going with these small ends.
Things are beginning to ramp up here. As you said, Upperman 2, 976 was the score to beat for Yi based on last match with Neptune. However, I will say that was a 99.42 with 4 SBs. So like when you think about it, 4 slider breaks within the span of 5.5 minutes is pretty low, all things considered, right? It's the LN boss map. You'd expect a lot more. A lot of that 976, getting away from like the usual 990 scores we see out of all of these tournament players, is actually by way of the 200s picked up. So accuracy plays a big role here. As you said, it's OD 8.5. You're going to pick up a lot of 200s on this map, whether you like it or not. And being able to minimize how many you can take within the span of over 300 seconds really determines your outcome for this match. And so far, Nep has the slightest bit of an advantage when it comes to that.
Absolutely, as we're going into this next section, and so far, just going past the first third of the map, it's still within 1,000 points. In the bias of Nepigen for the time being, you have a lot of these Doritos scattered all throughout, a lot of very visual patterning that we have all throughout. It's so uncomfortable to look at. It's so uncomfortable to play. We see grades coming out from either side, and yet somehow it's still everyone's game. If it does come down to it, from Neptune, but that's going to happen right off the gate. 2,000 points in the favor of Yi now, trying their best to carry on the streak of victories that they had with Salmon Noodles so far, which has been looking so great so far. But this is only just the first half of the absolute dinner that they're having for now. A midnight snack at that even.
Oh, it's incredible the fact that Nep was able to hold on for as long as they did, being able to match Yi's accuracy there and even hold on to the tiniest bit of a buffer, but now needing to make that recovery run. Yi finding the drop now in return, still holding on to a bit of a cushion, about a 10th of a percent still, but Nep has some free time above that 400 combo cap here to claw back some of that score. It's inside of 1,000 points now. They need to make up that accuracy, so every single 100th of a percent really matters now that Yi has found the drop. And can they hang on? There's a third of the map still left to go. There's still plenty for these players to trip up on as we take a tiny bit of a break out of that last section. It is inside of 1,000 points once again here as we approach this final quarter. It is still anybody's map as we continue on here.
And I believe this is the last break that they get on this map. From here on out, they will forge the scores with their own skill and try to take the momentum with this grand finals matchup. Yi with the slightest bit of an edge, 500 points. Neptune, of course, right behind. It has always been like this throughout the entirety of this set. We'll have to see if things can change, if T1 can finally take one of these nail biters for themselves as it ramps up yet again. These last couple of patterns, and Yi and Nep, their final test awaits them on the boss map.
Final long jacks that transition into this very next section. This is where the difficulty jumps right back at you. And now that we had a few blunders on these really just very subtle, nuanced, difficult patterns, we have Nepogen in with the advantage, but only by a few hundred points going into this ending. It's so easy to just release at the absolute earliest point you can of each LN, and that's the problem. So much you need to focus on with this pick alone, on this map alone, and right now it's literally right in the middle. There's only a few hundred points that separate these two. This cannot be this close for the LN boss pick. Are we seeing this again? Are you kidding me?
What? How are we coin flipping a 5.5-minute map? What are you doing here, man? It is 5-1. They managed to hang on. Nep did everything in their power to try to get that map pick back, but that outro is so ridiculously hard. How did they both hang on there? And how is it only 1,000 points between them again?
This is the most disrespectful victory I've seen, especially on, bar none, one of the hardest regular picks we have in any map pool. Why? How? Oh my god.
Wasting 0 time, Allen 1. Immediate just shotgun pick. They're gonna try and run it back. They know they're running out of time here. They need to start getting some points here, and it's gonna be the protect coming through for T1.
And you could really, like, all Nep type was LN1, but you can really feel how determined they are to make this pick work, right? They fired it back immediately. And it's Nep doing it. There's no outside commentary from them. No, nothing. It's just simply LN1. He wants to get right into it. He wants to take back that point for T1.
Absolutely. And this is definitely the best point to try and bring it out, especially in such a high stakes map situation like this. There is literally every single nerve on the line, and the anesthesia has run out for both teams. I mean, blowing the smoke off the gun from what we saw of LN5 just somehow managing to win by such a small amount again on an LN map. They're going to try and continue that trend for Salmon Noodle because they're literally 1 point away from match point already. T1 still yet to continue that trend with a lot of very close points we've seen, and one of the closest, if anything. Hello, Son. First take that drop, and that's going to bring that though of 5,000 points for the time being on a gauntlet like this map is.
Like you were saying, Hello Sun finding the first drop in this map, markedly shorter than the 2 absolute marathon maps that we've had. This feels like a quick in, quick out type of a map, just over 2 minutes here, and Yi holding on to 0.5%, 5,000 points, a miss in the back pocket as well through the first third. You couldn't ask for anything more here to give yourself just that tiny little bit extra of a cushion, because you know you have been on the right side of these 50-50s throughout this entire match. You're gonna need every single judgment here as we get into this dense burst section. Both players holding on spectacularly well. Hello Sun recovering that accuracy, but still needing to make up that miss of a deficit to Yi. A third of the map left to go. Can they hang on? They're holding on to the FC for Salmon Noodle. There's still plenty more for the players to trip up on here. Can they hang on?
And I am so scared to see how this map will end. Yes, Yi has the combo game, but Hello Sun does have a little bit better accuracy, so as long as Yi misses, Hello Sun should be good to go. Time is running out. Last hard section, a lot of jacks coming in, a lot of density, a lot of short long notes, and unfortunately for T1, Yi takes another point off of them. Yi has been absolutely insane this match so far. I mean, taking this point, their first map against Hello Sun on Gears of Fate was the 11-point win. then proceeded to take another point off of Hello Sun with Hybrid 2, and then even going toe-to-toe with Neb and taking a point off of him on the boss LN pick now with this one. How do you stop Salmon Noodles on the Noodle picks?
I mean, it's quite literally what they're built for at this point. We just have so many picks back to back, and somehow only a lens that we've seen thus far is relatively close. Even if L1 was a lot more spaced out than the others, at least it was within a 5,000 points. So there was still the opportunity that Hello Sun could have taken that one had it not been for, you know, maybe a miss on the side of IME, for example. But that's going to leave only one LN pick remaining for the favor of Salmon Noodle if they were to go into that later. Their only option that T1 has, now that their backs are against the wall, they want to try and aim for that bracket reset, because now with Salmon Noodle at the match point, they are going to be forced to go into a tiebreaker if they were to try and at least try and fight for that #1 prize. And they're going to be spending their chances on Hybrid 3 coming out from I'm Yi. The final Hybrid pick that we have on the entire board, based on the fact that Hybrid 1 was banned.
There's so many things that have happened in this match. Like, this scoreline doesn't feel representative of what has transpired here. And I mean, like I said, all of the 50-50s, all of those nip and tuck moments have been going the way of Salmon Noodle, bar one pick where I mean, Nep just did Nep things, it felt like, for the briefest of moments. But it is now within their grasp. They can see that first place medal right in front of them. The last point is always the hardest one to get, and they're going to try and do it on Hybrid 3 here. They're going to try and do it against Nepogen. The last bastion here, potentially, for T1. It's going to need to be the run of a lifetime. 6 in a row. Not impossible, but that hill can become a mountain if you're not too careful, and it's got to start now. Can they do it, or will Salmon Noodle shut the door on them at the first time of asking?
Absolutely, as Nepogen is going to have to relive their demons from Speedlight Free as they go through a map that's quite literally adjacent of some of the worst hybrids we've seen from that tournament. And so far, it's still only 100 points in the favor for Nepogen. Early start, better accuracy advantage, as there is some drops here and there coming from both sides. No one is entirely safe from this pick. But the fact that it's literally just another map and it's only within a few hundreds of points for either side. So many of these flams that we have everywhere on the LNs and these literally scary mid-jacks.
No.
What? Dude.
That is the most disastrous drop at the most disastrous moment. Nepogen absolutely dropping the ball on those patterns will lead Salmon Noodle to having an 8,000 point lead, and even more as Nepogen drops again and again down to sub 99%. Dare I say that this match might be closing in dominant fashion for IME.
Not over to our last note rings out. There's the first drop from Yi, and I mean, the accuracy isn't as pristine as we have seen from other maps. 99.4% accuracy. It's a mountain for Nep to climb now, but they have faced worse in the past. It is not over. It is 10,000 points left with a quarter of the map left to go. It gets even harder from here on out. A trade between the two of them. Yi starting to take some pretty massive damage here. 1/10% now, 6,900 points. Nice between the two of them, but Nepogen's just not able to hold on to the combo here. There are windows of opportunity that have presented themselves in the back half of this map, but they have not been in the position this time around to capitalize on them. An eighth of the map left to go. An eighth of the map potentially left in this tournament. Can Yi hang on? It is still 10,000 points. After all is said and done here, it is coming to a close. Can they close it out once again at the first time of asking here?
And it's literally within the final few seconds of the map. There's 10,000 points, but I think we've come to a point. We finally have your victor for this year's Abstraction Cup. 7-1, taking down one of the American champions of the Osumania community overall. It spanned so many tournaments, a long time awaited since the very beginning, but now the crown has officially been given down to one team that's tried their best and pulled the most insane upsets we've seen throughout this whole tournament. It's gonna be none other than your 4th seeded team, Salmon Noodle, I'm Ian Nad, taking it home for the final match in Abstraction Cup, dealing the taste of medicine that has worked coming out from T1's match yesterday against our runner-up team. Oh no, this is that's crazy.
What a heck of a match. 11 points at times. Like, the margins between these two teams, that Venn diagram that I always love to talk about, literally a circle, which is a pixel off, leading in favor of Salmon Noodle. Like I said, that scoreline does not represent how close this match got at times. But I mean, you've got to put in the work, the effort to put yourselves in that position. And I'm Yi and Nod time and again in this match doing just enough to see themselves over the line, throwing themselves over the finish line at times on some of those maps. I mean, commiserations to T1. That was a hell of a loser's bracket run from Hello Sun and Nep. They are not the type of guys to go quietly into that good night. They put up a hell of a fight here, just coming up that little bit short. They had the potential, but I mean, it's just Salmon Noodle's day here at the end of the day.
It really was, and to be honest, I think it is going to be Salmon Noodle's year. You think about how MWC went last year with I'm Yi and Nod, losing to the US, losing to Hello Sun and Nep in the grand finals 3-7, and then to take it back in this Abstraction Cup. They had a vendetta going into this tournament, and they've accomplished what they set out to do, winning against them even more so than they had lost to the United States last year in MWC. 7-1 from IE and Nad. Yeah, we talked about how, you know, this match was like a very close 7-1, all things considered, but people don't remember the razor thin margins of the maps themselves individually. They remember the scoreline, and Salmon Noodle have definitely set something special here with a 7-1. I am so excited to see if these two guys will continue on in their journey in terms of MWC, what they can do, because if they play like this in this year's MWC, and it's just, you know, in a month and a half or so, Korea has an insane shot at taking it all.
Yeah. Like, it's been a long time since we started this tournament alone, and just the fact that we've seen so many performances here and there that have really shook up the community within this tournament alone. And just the fact that we had so many teams of all backgrounds coming around for this tournament alone, and probably some of the most insane amounts of competition that I've seen in any tournament ever, like in a long time. It genuinely feels poetic that we just see everything culminate into the final entry for this tournament alone. And I know it didn't end up going in the favor of one, and that, you know, this definitely could have gone tiebreaker had there been like maybe some more glimpses of being human on the side of our winning team here. But I'm genuinely so proud of how everyone has played in this finale of the tournament, even if it didn't go bracket reset, even if we didn't see what we had seen or what we were expecting of such a match that was anticipated throughout the longest time. But it's like, it just feels insane to me how this is like my first ever tournament, and this is like literally the caliber of everything that we're seeing, the caliber of difficulty, the caliber of players, and it all just culminates into this very match alone as it all stands.
Yeah, there are a plethora of players that, I mean, so some names that we haven't seen in a while, some names that have become regulars. It feels like it's ridiculous. The skill ceiling has been absolutely shattered, as it always has. Like, the challenges that get presented to these players, and just leaving us absolutely dumbfounded with some of the things that they are able to accomplish in match. I mean, it's one thing to be able to practice and reset and practice and reset and try to get the optimal conditions for score posting and stuff like that, but to be able to do it in match when it's all on the line, the pressure is at its maximum, and leaving us, as I said, just absolutely dumbfounded with how they are able to do it year in and year out. This is by far the hardest tournament that I think anybody's ever dared to put on in a hot minute, and they're making it look easy. They're making it look like clockwork. They're making it look like it's just another day in the park. And like you were saying, it's like, or like you guys were saying, like, if this is what South Korea is going to bring to the table for the next major team tournament, which is MWC, I think, I mean, all right, gauntlet thrown. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and, well, there's only one thing left to do. We didn't get to see the TB in regular fashion, but thankfully Ami and Hoson are going to show it off to us. So, as this goes on, I believe we'll let Epic Man 2 we'll let you give your flowers for these 7 minutes and kind of, obviously leave your heart out, let the people know what they want and what you want them to know with everything surrounding this tournament.
I mean, to be fair, I've already kind of left my flowers on the board with, this tournament alone, and that, like, this has been something that was in the works for about a year or so. So the fact that, despite all the thick and thin that we've been through, that I've been through, like, when it came to developing this tournament as, like, one of the head map pullers and also, like, one of the people giving some of the main directions and all that, it's like, just the fact that this is my first ever time, like, hosting a tournament, and it somehow ends up being like this in terms of, like, deploying just the general production quality that we've seen of, like, everyone is, like, genuinely one of the most insane things to me. Like, I never thought that in a gajillion years that this is somehow going to be something that I end up putting my foot on when it comes to the Mania community, especially in terms of tournaments, because I literally only was here in the tournament community for like 3 years or so. Like, I only started commentating 2 years ago, like, with one of your tournaments, Dynascape, and the fact that, we literally, like, came this far and that, like, this is somehow, like, what I'm doing all this time later is, like, it just feels crazy. Like, there's just so many people that I have to, like, dedicate this to, especially with this original song tiebreaker that we got as well, which is one of the hardest tiebreakers in the history of tournaments as well, in that matter. Like, it's just insane to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to that point, that there's a lot of production work that went on behind the scenes. I mean, shout out to everybody that took time out of their weekends to make this possible. I mean, this doesn't happen without the commentators, the streamers, the refs, the players being able to commit time to this. So regardless of how much or how little you did, thank you very much from everybody here for taking the time to make this possible. I mean, even the people that are watching right now, people that took time out of their day to watch any of the matches, being able to lend your support to the players that were playing in this tournament, the winners, the losers, everybody that even tried to qualify for this tournament, even the ones that got eliminated at the first hurdle. I mean, it takes a village to run a production like this, and once again, just thank you so much for everything to make this tournament as successful as it was. And I mean, hopefully we'll see you guys for future ones. Might not be as hard as this one, because I don't know how you get much harder than this, but I'm sure we'll find a way to do it. But
oh yeah, there is all the ways to go about it, unfortunately.
Oh,
yeah.
There's always a rate to go up, and
yeah,
well,
we'll
wow.
just keep cranking the up rate up until it just becomes indistinguishable noise.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, as things stand, again, with this bit of a victory lap for Salmon Noodle, congratulations once again goes out to them. I mean, undefeated through the tournament. I mean, it does bear repeating. I mean, with the players that were in this tournament as the 4th seed, I mean, there's some pretty heavy hitters that qualified above them, and being able to take out the #1 seed in match without dropping the set is a heck of a task, because on paper you see who is on the other side of this particular matchup and you're just like, I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I thought this had potential to go to bracket reset. The fact that they won it the way they did is a testament to just how consistent these two players are. They cover each other's weaknesses so incredibly well, with the fact that, I mean, we said it at the top of the broadcast, they can combo their way through literally just about anything here.
Absolutely. Like, I don't even know how each of these players just do it. Like, it was kind of like a spur of the moment kind of thing for the map pools end up reaching this hard, but the fact that it did, and somehow we still have so many players out there that just like very capable of destroying this map pool is like insane. We literally saw Anyi holding 6,000 combo just before it hit Mocha's part in this thing, our fellow co-host here, who's literally like done so much to make their parts really difficult when it comes to the Rice physicality aspect of it, and somehow going to the lost part, the combos are literally gone. Yi is finally bleeding just underneath 99%. This is a testament as to how gods can, or at least prove that they're human sometimes as well, but it's just, there's just no words that I even have to describe this. It's just impossible.
Like I said, we set the challenge, and these players rise to the occasion every single time. It probably feels a lot sweeter playing through this, knowing that you don't have to do it in an actual match situation. If you are Yi and not, I'm thinking that they're probably playing this as well, just off screen, of course. But I mean, like I said, I mean, it's a lot of work that goes into getting this production underway, and I mean, congratulations. Like, running a tournament is a hell of a lot of work, and
yeah,
trying to make sure everything goes as smoothly as humanly possible is like, I mean, hats off. Like, congratulations. It's a heck of an accomplishment. Like I said, you and your co-hosts put on a hell of a show, and I hope everybody enjoyed watching this one. Yes, maybe a little shorter than maybe some would have wanted, but I mean, I don't think you can complain with some of the score lines that we got on this one.
Yeah, I think the excitement in those individual maps really made up for the length of it.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. The adrenaline, and I was literally shaking at times just from the excitement of how close some of these maps got, and it'll be one of those that gets lived down. I think Dinah touched on it briefly. It's like they'll only see the scoreline, but I mean, that MP link is going to contain all the evidence you need as to just how much Salmon Noodle had to fight for each and every single one of these points, as the last couple of notes rain down on our tiebreaker, and it does bring... That's ridiculous. That's disgusting. But I mean, yeah, they can play it. What more you need to say? They can play it.
Yeah.
But that will do it for this year's edition of the Abstraction Cup. Once again, Epic Man, if you've got anything else left, actually no, I'll throw it to Dinah. Dinah, you've got anything else left to add? I'll throw it back to Epic Man after you're done here.
Yeah. Once again, just Dinah. Of course, I know how it is, Epic Man, running a tournament like this. With this kind of scale is insane, and of course the pooling difficulty. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that most players or viewers don't see. So of course, thank you to everyone who participated in terms of helping this tournament become a reality. The map poolers and mappers, playtesters, referees, streamers, commentators, all of the designers, of course Epsilon with the sheeting and statistics, some of the wiki editors, and Mitch for that grand finals tiebreaker original song. Lots to be had, and of course thank you to you guys, the players and the viewers. Yes, you know, we are the ones who construct the stage, but you guys are the ones who fill it up. And you know, of course it means everything to all of us here that you guys are willing to play these maps, have fun in the tournament, and of course watch alongside us. So Epic Man 2, I'll give it over to you.
Yeah, once again, this has been quite the Abstraction Cup, I want to say. Like, we've come such a long way throughout the past few months that this has been ongoing for. All the organizational aspect that's gone into this one has been quite the heavy load on my part, but at the end of the day, like, it's genuinely been such an enjoyable experience being able to put on a tournament like this one as well. Like, especially getting to see so many teams that I recognize and so many players that I respect myself just doing their absolute best, just having fun, like, you know, where it's like basically most warranted. And that's basically the one thing that I want to at least allow for in this tournament, because for me personally, like, as someone that's been in the tournament community for a bit, I wanted to try and have a tournament where people can have fun. Not only just myself, but like everyone taking a part of it, both in the staffing, both in the teams and all the players that we've seen. Just generally trying to at least keep things a little entertaining, as much as I wanted to be a little experimental when it came to, you know, some of these map pools, as I'm assuming a lot of people would have seen. And this definitely would not have been, the way it was had it not been for, you know, all the people that we've had on the works for the map pooling side. You know, me, Pataraj, Hina, aka Terrador, and Lot as well, being able to at least help me a lot figuring out all the things I needed to do with map pooling as a whole, and just also in general, like everyone else, like all the commentators, all the streamers that we had, just being able to tank in and stream a lot of the intense matches that we had, even though there was a lot of forfeits. But at the end of the day, like, despite it all, I genuinely appreciate every single one of you for being able to give this tournament a chance. Like, it genuinely means the world to me that I could put on an event like this, and somehow it just ends up being one of the biggest ones in the tournament community for just at least a little bit. And I genuinely feel like this tournament gives a little bit of a message to me that I am very optimistic for the future of the Oceanmania tournament community as a whole. Just the fact that we have so many tournaments on the line that are going to be happening, and there's just so much more competition that's yet to happen. All the players, improvements, all the boundaries we can continue pushing for the future. It's just so exciting to me as a whole, and I genuinely cannot wait to at least share at least a little bit with y'all in the future. Like, maybe not through my own projects, but like anyone else's in general, dare I choose to, like, you know, continue on in general. So yeah, I think that like summarizes everything I was trying to say for you know, just a little monologue that I had for the ending. But yeah, like I'm gonna like get to the point where I like start repeating myself or something. But yeah,
No worries. That I don't think either Dinah or I could have said it any better ourselves. That is the best way to put a bow on proceedings here. So, with that being said, once again, congratulations, Salmon Noodle, Yi, Nod, for winning the Abstraction Cup. But for us, that will be the end of it all. And we'll catch you guys later.
Thank you all once again for such an insane turn, and I hope to see you all later. Catch you on the flip side. Thanks for everything.